Welcome to the podcast, fellas.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
Someone said to you, "Hey, can you make me a logo?" which is generally the
that's
question.
exactly what happened,
right?
actually.
Because that's like the traditional thing that everyone has to do, right? You have to go to uni in order to get a job.
The best way I learned was, actually being out in the industry and
How close of friends at school were you guys?
So we were very, very close in that aspect.
Starting businesses with friends can be
Yeah.
hard. So how'd you guys navigate that in the early stages? On this week's episode of the podcast, we have the dynamic duo, Phil and Pat from Simple Media. We talk about their story, where they started, how they got into it, and also how they work with their clients to get the best results. So I hope you enjoy this episode. Right, well, first of all, I want to say you guys are the first double guests on my podcast. So I'm actually excited to talk to two different people, but from the same company. So welcome to the podcast, fellas.
thank you.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Pleasure to be here.
So we've probably known each other now for coming up to 2 years, probably, since I moved into this shared office space that we have. So today, really, I want to get to know you guys a little bit more. Like, we talk every day, but I want to learn a little bit more about you guys individually, how you guys built Simple Media, kind of the lessons that you've learned, all those kind of things. So first of all, let's start over here. Pat, can you give us a little background on just you? Like, what was it like growing up? How'd you kind of get into the field that you're in now?
Yeah, it's a bit of a funny one because I don't think I mean, if I asked my 10-year-old self, I don't think I would have been in this position as a career. I was obsessed with sport as a kid, always playing sport. And yeah, I guess I picked up a camera in like year 11 and my brother and I would just make videos, classic catches in the backyard, that sort of stuff. I just sort of got a knack for, I guess, using a camera and I guess being creative that way. And then, I had a few things go wrong in year 12 with my nan passing away and I wasn't really like connected at school. So I kind of just threw my hat in the ring to a few uni degrees and got into Viscom at UWS and it kind of kicked off from there. So I didn't do art, nothing at school. So I just sort of went in blind.
So you weren't really creative as a kid?
I mean, it was there, but I didn't really, I guess, go for it or get involved in much of it. I think my nan did a thing called decoupage back in the day, which is basically like collaging and like lacquering them onto tables or little things that you could, I guess, boxes, that sort of thing. She sent me to a couple of those. That's about as far as it went in terms of creative stuff. So it's a bit of a funny one how I've ended up here because I'd never really, I guess, unlocked any of that early days, and I just kind of fell into a uni degree and went from there.
How was that uni degree? Did you, like you said that you kind of had a passion for it during uni or kind of after?
Yeah, I think like during uni, sort of each subject I guess we did, I kind of unlocked a little bit more pieces of creativity. I guess because it was all new to me, and I guess the art world was a little bit new to me. I was like happy to do the theory stuff there, whereas a lot of, I guess, other students that were doing the same course were kind of getting a little bit bored of that sort of thing. Whereas I was quite happy to learn about more about, I guess, communications, I guess how they worked over time and that sort of thing. I found an interest there. And then, in terms of the actual like creative stuff when it came to design and that sort of thing, I guess I had to kind of stick at it because it wasn't really, I was still learning.
I was going to ask you, did you find that probably the hardest thing because you didn't come from a real creative kind of background? Yeah,
I think the camera, like the photography classes, I was quite happy doing those because I enjoyed that and I was familiar with that. But when it came to like illustration, branding, I guess at the first point, publication design, it didn't really come natural. But over time developed a big interest in the branding side of things and I guess flourished in that in the later years of uni with the tutelage I had. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Philly boy, how'd you kind of what's
my story?
Yeah, what's your story?
I mean, there's some similarities there with sport. Like Pat and I went to the same school together, high school, and we were always playing footy and soccer. Actually, we met playing soccer.
Yeah.
At like when we were 11. And I was pretty big in sports as well, but I kind of had this like contradiction where it's not a contradiction, but I played a lot of sport, but when I was home, pretty much glued to the computer screen, video games and just kind of discovering, I think, the internet when I was like quite quite young and fell into a love of, I guess, technology and all that sort of stuff too. And I guess in a way it's probably something very new that was coming out of it. And I think I just spent a lot of time in that space and developed like that sort of almost addiction for the internet and that whole online space.
Well, that's when like the internet was going, this new thing, like we're all at similar ages.
Yeah, exactly.
This new technology, computing and internet really kind of kicked off around our teenagehood, right?
Yeah, it was wild. I think there was so much happening and so much new stuff there. It was like a whole nother world to sort of like dive into. So we'd be playing soccer on the weekends and then and then going to school and then coming back and diving into the computer screen for a while, I think. And I think I developed like tinkering with so much stuff in that space. And I was animating when I was a kid on the computer, doing a lot of illustration and like little flip books and all that sort of stuff. And I developed that kind of passion for cartoons and all that sort of online and motion and like just general creativity and art. And by the time I got to, I think, the senior years of high school, it was sort of like, oh, maybe there's some career path there. I don't know. Like I've found it as a really nice hobby, but I think I was wanting to be more of like a PE teacher or I think as a kid I wanted to be like a professional soccer player, but I think that's pretty competitive to get into. And
this industry can be competitive too.
Yeah. So I know exactly as we all find out in the end there. But yeah, it was sort of like, I liked both kind of ends of that kind of spectrum, and I did pretty well with animation in high school and building websites and making my own cartoons, and that's kind of where I wanted to go with in uni. But I think where the real work was business and marketing and websites. So I didn't really go down the animation path. I went down the website path.
Yeah, I was going to say, obviously you're talking there about art, animation, but basically you guys in Simple Media, you run the website kind of side of the business and you run all the kind of graphic design, branding, that kind of thing. Yeah. So when was like do you remember your first website that you built? And do you know what it was?
That was on it would have been like Yahoo, like sites or something like that. It was just some like free internet website builder where you would just have a template and then you just put random things on it, random content. I can't remember what I called it, but there was a whole bunch of GIFs and random images and text. And I don't know if you've seen that Simpsons episode where Homer builds his first website and it's just full of GIFs that's so true. I relate to that joke.
Cool. Let's add this. What? You can do this animation? What?
At the end of the day, it's just kind of like a blank canvas that you're just expressing yourself on, and that's what I kind of loved about that. So,
and what was the first kind of like branding thing that you made, either just for fun or someone said to you, "Hey, can you make me a logo?" which is generally the question. That's exactly
what happened,
right?
Actually. Like, so I'm pretty sure I was still at uni, and where was I? Yeah, I was working at Penrith RSL. I was pulling beers there, and there was this renovation going on. So a new cafe was being built, and one of the duty managers, shout out Reese Pope, saw the concepts of the logos for the cafe, and he's like, "Oh man, I saw the logo designs. They look kind of shit. Like, I reckon you could do better." I was like, "All right, okay."
How many times in your career do you think you've had that too? By the way, just side note.
No, I'm not gonna diss things. But that's So I just kind of went home that night after my shift, and like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I was like, "Oh, put this together," and I just like emailed it to him, and he passed it on to the marketing manager there, and they basically just said,
"What did it look like? Do you remember?"
It was called Zach's Cafe, and it was like a tall, neat text, and it was like sort of a boxed aligned logo, and it was nice. Like, it was very simple, but I think that's what they wanted. And anyway, yeah, they went with it, and then I got offered a job to work under the marketing manager there. So I kind of just fell into, I guess, marketing that way.
So from pulling beers to then moving into the marketing department?
Yeah, straight into the admin department at Penrith RSL, and putting together the magazine publication there and all that sort of stuff. So it definitely like catapulted me into, I guess a role in the design field. It wasn't probably technically where I saw myself going initially, but it gave me a great experience.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Look, I think that's where a lot of us creatives start, is someone saying, "Hey, can you do this?" And we go, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah, actually, I'm pretty good at that. I can help you.
Let's give it a go. You know,
Yeah.
I think the first time someone asked me, it was probably a wedding, was like, "Oh, can you film a wedding?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll give it a crack."
Yeah.
I look back at that now and go, that was pretty mediocre. But like, that's where I think those creative juices start, is like doing, right? There's always different types of learners and what people do. Like for me personally, I'm someone that has to physically do something in order to improve on it. What about you guys, in the sense of?
I think experience is the biggest teacher of all, and I mean, I relate to that because through uni it was actually a bit of a struggle. And when I started looking at uni courses, because I wanted to get into animation, one of the tutors, I think at UTS, just said, if you want to do that, just get straight into the industry. Don't worry about uni. Just start doing it. Start learning and start meeting people. And I think I was pretty set on the ways of going to uni and doing your thing. So
because that's like the traditional thing that everyone has to do, right? You have to go to uni in order to get a job.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Like, I've had people say, "Oh, I want to get into the film or television industry." I'm like, just go do an internship. Go into there, because that's the best way to get into it.
Just keep doing what you're doing. I think a lot of us creatives are quite self-taught because of the way we've, I guess, grown up, and like it all usually starts as a hobby, and usually I think we like to follow our heart and our like passion projects and our skills that we enjoy doing. And yeah, I mean, I did struggle through uni with some, I guess, like the courses and turning up and like listening to the theory side of things like that. But really all I really wanted to do was just actually keep creating and keep learning, like, I guess, at my own pace and sort of figuring out as you go. And and most of the time, the best way I learned was actually being out in the industry. And
Absolutely. I guess I'm probably a little bit of a different side with what we were speaking about before.
It's good. Yeah.
Like I probably needed
the
structure and that, because it wasn't, I guess it didn't come naturally to me initially.
Yeah.
Whereas like if I look back, I guess on my career now, like I've just improved on experience.
Yeah.
Like I look back at but if I didn't go to uni and didn't learn, I guess, what I learnt there, I don't think I'd be where I am now.
Yeah.
Whereas I didn't have like a portfolio of logos I would been whipping up since year 11, and like I didn't have anything like that. So I needed to sort of learn the practice, and I guess I always, I guess from my point of view, it taught me to concept quite well. So I can't. Yeah, I probably have to acknowledge that. Yeah, uni had a big part in terms of where I am now, and I guess the thought process I have behind my design and that sort of thing as well.
And I think there's heaps of merit into that. I think, like I said, there's so many different people that learn differently. And obviously, Phil, you're a little bit more like, I kind of just wanted to create, and I've been creating for a long time. Whereas you're like, I've just kind of thrusted myself into this kind of...
I was a baby.
I needed to, like... You kind of essentially started from scratch, right?
Yeah,
so you need a little bit more hand-holding.
Absolutely.
Could have a blank canvas in that.
Yeah, it was. I guess I wasn't set my ways like, this is how I want my stuff to look. Like I was kind of just bringing everything, being inspired by everything as well. So it wasn't like, I didn't, like Phil said, blank canvas is exactly right. Like I wasn't, set in my ways and like, this is how I'm going to design everything. This is my look. Yeah. I was sort of letting everything filter through and sort of deciding like from there. Yeah, I was. And I guess I probably still am that way. I'm still very inspired of what is going on around in the world and that sort of thing. And it's cool.
I mean, I definitely acknowledge what uni brought to, I guess, my path in that as well. Like there's plenty of stuff to learn and plenty of conceptual ideologies and like in design. the way people do things. It's good to have that expansive like experience in that way as well.
Yeah, 100%. Like I learned a lot of foundations of backbone and video production through courses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What do you think, Pat, was probably the hardest learning curve for you when you started thrust into this kind of industry?
I guess I probably early days had a bit of like self-doubt around like, I guess I went into this admin role at the RSL, but I never sort of worked in a studio per se or an agency. I guess it was probably the self-doubt aspect in the early days, like going, well, I mean, I've just been teaching myself here at Penrith RSL on what I should be doing and that sort of thing because I didn't really have a design mentor. There was no one senior above me. All my seniors leading into Simple Media were all marketers, so they weren't necessarily designers, and I was maybe, I guess, seeking advice off maybe ex-peers at uni and that sort of thing, and just bouncing ideas off them if I was needing advice or needing, I guess, just that second voice. But it was probably just a self-doubt thing around that, just like not maybe coming from that traditional, like, I guess, having a creative director guide me or a senior designer and that sort of thing. I got that at uni, like for a small, like 8-week period. I guess I learned a lot there, but that wasn't really, I guess, the traditional way of, I guess, having a couple of years at an agency before maybe deciding I'll go out on my own or that sort of thing.
Especially because all you're doing was slinging beers, and
the
next minute you've been you're designing, you're in the marketing team, and you've never worked in marketing before. You're like, okay, am I able to do this?
That's right. Yeah, I guess it was later on in my uni, I guess, life. Like it was probably the 3rd year or 4th year of uni, and they. At UWS, they sort of had a thing called the rabbit hole, which was like you were a design agency as a team. So you had like clients and you sort of worked in that way and that sort of thing. So I guess I was exposed to that as well around the same time. But once I left uni and was just at the RSL, there was no real like design guide for me or like, someone to look up to or be inspired by. Yeah, it was all very much, I guess, going back. It's almost like a reverse. I just started like self-teaching myself off the back of uni. So it was an interesting.
I can understand.
So it's interesting now, like talking about it and thinking back. It's like I kind of went reverse. Like
I agree. Like obviously, I did a 2-year bachelor film course, and basically the entire course was how to be in a production team.
Yeah.
How to make films, how to make TVs, how to make documentaries. Nothing about working with business or anything like that. As soon as I finished that course, I was like, okay, people are going to hire me now because I got a bachelor in film course. People got me. And then I quickly learned, no. Because I was focused in my time, like I wanted to be a director and editor. That was kind of what I was focusing on. And I kind of put the camera camera stuff to the side. And then after I left, I was like, no, I'm pretty sure I need to know everything.
Yeah.
So, and the self-teaching after that was really paramount to me.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's probably with you as well.
Oh, huge. Still happens. Like,
have to. Have to.
If we're not, like, we just get stuck. So, you just constantly got to improve yourself, whether it's might not necessarily be directly in the design field. It might be more about our communications with clients and that sort of thing. So you're just constantly improving, I guess, your processes and what you can deliver. So it's good. I mean, I like being in this industry because you're constantly just evolving. Yeah, absolutely.
What was some of the hardest learning curves for you? In the early stage.
I think hardest. I mean, I loved building websites and I loved figuring out what was the next kind of way to do it. So I was always self-taught in that way, which was good. But I think like always being glued to a computer screen, maybe I was a little bit shy or my like social skills weren't like my client communication maybe wasn't that up to scratch. And I think the hardest thing was definitely, I guess, trying to start and evolve a partnership with Pat and I from a freelance level, and client communication, and I mean even just sales, talking to clients in business terms, what makes sense to them, because I know how to build a website. There's a lot of jargon in it, but how do I communicate that to a client that actually makes sense to them and like sells them what they kind of actually want or need. And it's kind of like gluing that together with them and finding that middle ground to actually work out what they want. Because it's like I can build a website for you, but if it's like it's just got to hit the mark, so there's got to be that middle ground where we're both on the same page.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest learning curve in those early years was trying to get to that point.
Maybe come out of your shell a little more, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's evolved myself, and there's a lot of personal growth in that way, and it only just evolves the business because at the end of the day, we're all people. We're all people running businesses and trying to make a living as well, and trying to have fun doing it if we can.
Yeah.
So like the personal approach and growth between us all is something that really connects us all, and the end product and actually what we do is kind of just I don't know how to put it, but
Deep, man.
yeah, there's like
Love
it's the common. I think the finding that common ground is what was really good to reach. I think from a web nerd, I guess, who was maybe a bit shy. Yeah, so
From behind the computer to in front.
Yeah,
But
and now I'm doing a podcast in front of the camera. So
thrusted upon you this week. Hey, come on.
it's all right.
So obviously we've talked a little bit about your early kind of, thrust into kind of this industry.
Yeah.
You guys knew each other from school. How close of a friends at school were you guys?
Oh, we were in the same friend group. Like we were hanging out every day.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
had the same hobbies.
Playing
like
footy every lunch.
Yeah.
Like,
So we were very, very close in that aspect.
The reason why I ask is obviously you now own a business together,
Yeah.
right? So how did that come around? And I always hear that like starting businesses with friends can be hard. So how'd you guys navigate that in the early stages?
Do you want me to start? I think it's quite funny.
yeah, go
Do
for
it.
it. Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I think we're
So
both on the same
we
page.
didn't actually decide to start the business. We basically just got told you guys should do it.
Yeah.
So our
By
good friend,
another close friend of ours.
our good friend Matt,
You guys still have no contracts. It's just handshake.
our good friend Matt Watto, who is actually director of Simple Media as well. So it's a 3-way partnership. He's quite obviously silent these days, but he basically saw the 2 skill sets we both had and was like, you guys should start a business. Like, so I guess, I don't know, like I don't really picture perfectly those early days, but I kind of think we both were like, well, hey, why not? Like,
Yeah.
I guess like I can do that, Phil can do that, and together we can make this. And like he had a few, like, I guess, interests himself, a few friends that had like businesses that they were starting, like entrepreneurial people that needed, I guess, what we could do. And I guess it sort of just went from there.
Yeah.
Like it's
Like we're both freelancers, kind of just doing our own thing. I mean, you were working at the RSL, and I was just building websites and trying to sell them as I guess, almost a hobby, or whoever like asked me to do it. And I think Matt was he's an accountant and has some business structure and financial. He had his CPA and all that sort of stuff, so he had a lot of knowledge in that kind of business sense. And I think that was kind of this glue that gave us a bit of security and to handle that side of things, so we can just focus on, I guess, our skill set.
Yeah,
I think that's really an important point. Like that you
pivotal.
had Matt that had that, because you don't really get taught how to make a business, in school. Like, people go, oh yeah, I can start a business. That's going to be easy. But like having Matt as that kind of accounts kind of side, that would have been pivotal in the start point as well, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Oh, like, and I think even to this day, we still rest on him on certain, I guess, scenarios that pop up and that sort of thing, and seek his advice when it's needed. So it's still happening today. But it was like Phil touched on. It was that security blanket of like, all right, well, he's going to cover all the businessy stuff, and we'll just stay in our lanes and do what we know we can do. So I guess it felt, not that it was a free hit at business or anything like that, but I guess it was probably, maybe it didn't feel as daunting because we weren't dealing with, I guess, the nitty gritty stuff of, I guess, setting everything up and and that sort of thing.
Kind of takes you out of what you want to do for
Yeah.
clients.
Yeah, so I guess it
really got you guys straight into it, right?
Yeah.
It really got you straight into the branding and graphics and then straight into the website. So you guys can really focus on that and not having to worry about that back end stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think if that was cluttering our brains, I don't know if we would have lasted.
Yeah, because it's like
be honest.
what accounting software do we use? What business structure do we start off with? How do we work out if we're employees and contractors and how much people get paid and GST? There's so much that's daunting when you start a business. I think that he took that huge mental load off and responsibility too, which is a huge thing. And we could just focus on the clients that we were talking to and like servicing and and like, you know, once we complete a job, invoice gets sent out and then Matt was handling all that and making sure things were sort of covered, and like that's
So what year was
definitely
this?
super helpful.
This was probably
2014, 15?
or maybe before then, like when the first initial. I think
Yeah, true.
Simple Media got like registered in like 2013. But like I was still working at the RSL. And then I moved down to Melbourne for a couple of years around there as well. And then I guess realistically things didn't really kick on until I decided, well, this is actually a thing. I better get back home and like let's really work on this. And that was like 2017 maybe 2018. So
it was a good few years there.
Yeah, there was a lot of
side hustling.
We were
right?
still
I was still working other jobs and doing it on the side and that sort of thing.
I was traveling and doing a lot of snowboarding and so it wasn't until after that.
It was very much a soft launch, Simple Media, I'd say. Like
low pressure.
We were still we still sort of we had it was kind of like a side hustle at the RSL. Like they allowed me to drop down like a few hours a week to focus on Simple, which was great. But I mean, we didn't have the client load for it to support us, so we still had to sort of find other work, and whether it was pulling beers or the bottle shops and all that sort of stuff, or go and work in the lifts at the snow.
Do you think that soft launch has helped you guys get to the point where you are today?
Probably. Yeah, I don't know. That's a hard one to answer. I don't.
Like, I mean, it was a slow process, I think, because we were just doing our thing and kind of learning client interaction and business as we sort of went. But once we became sort of quite serious and full time and started getting some bigger clients and really putting in the serious effort and like full time work, that's when we really, I guess, exploded and solidified a lot of our, I guess, the way we worked together and that synergy. Yeah. And then I think from there it exploded pretty quick because, you know, that's what we had to
set your mind on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it wasn't like we said, all right, we're all in now when we first started. Kind of. So it probably did give us, I guess, a bit of a security blanket about it.
Kind of
and I guess grow into. We probly really weren't ready to offer what we were.
You still had a lot of learning to go, right?
Like we still had a lot to learn. And I guess I look back on, I guess where the branding aspect of the business was at that point in time. Probably, I mean, I don't believe I was at a level that it deserved to be doing big client jobs at that point in time. Whereas, going away and learning, especially my time in Melbourne and really, I guess, getting stuck in down there, and definitely, I guess, there was a lot of growth that happened while I was there, both personally and career-wise. So,
yeah. And I was telling clients that I was taking 3 months off to go snowboarding, so like can't really do that anymore.
No, not particularly. So when was the big turning point where it's like, all right, we're all in?
I'd say, I mean, we sort of picked up a few clients through like, I guess it was like friends of friends and that sort of thing. And we kind of fell into this job with who is still a client today, Falcone Hospitality. And they owned the O'Donoghue's pub and the Red Cow. And a mate of ours just sort of took over working there. On a marketing level and I guess events level. And he sort of saw our stuff through mutual friends of other work that we'd been working on at the time. And he kind of thrust us into into doing, I guess, all the event collateral and design and all that sort of thing for the pubs. And I guess from there it just sort of catapulted into they needed a new website. Built them a new website. They were very inspired, I guess, by like the Maryvale rise at that point in time. This is probably like 2017, I'd say, or maybe a bit before. But yeah, they were our first like, oh, we're actually working for someone that's not like a mate here. Like our mate's there, but like we're working for them, not him. So yeah, it was probably the first time it wasn't like just a mutual word of mouth friend or, oh, my auntie's got this business she's starting. Could you guys help her with that? It was it was the first time we kind of got thrust into
big client
working with a client that was I guess they're a big player. They're in the pub industry and they've turned over decent amounts of money and they needed us to deliver it as standard for them to, I guess, market their venues.
Something that's reoccurring, and they've got a budget and an actual marketing assistant, and starting to work with bigger teams. I think was
that really catapulted to where you guys are at now. Then,
yeah, definitely. I guess I reckon. I don't know if I can speak for Phil completely on this, but from them as a client, learned like a lot of what we do today, like in terms of client communication. Processes. Like we're always updating our processes, and a lot of them are to do with, I guess, the work that we've done with them through our journey. So they've just been a stronghold for us, and I guess they've grown as well while we've been working with them, and they've trusted us pretty much the whole time we've been around. So very very cool. But yeah, that'd be where it sort of became serious for us then.
Yeah.
And what was it for you, Phil, with doing a website for this brand new client, basically, that's not just a friend? Like, how was that for you?
It was fine. I mean, I did know our friend in there as well, and that was a new relationship though, and getting that more professional, just like almost constant check-ins and like deadlines and timeframes where it was like a bit more serious. That definitely gave myself a bit more structure in that, and needing to evolve into that like regular consistency with a client, and actually having it presentable for a wide range of audiences, I think, and then duplicating that across other venues that they had was very like, it systemized a lot of things, I think, in the process of the service, which was, I think, really, really good for us. And then, from there, that was just kind of a platform for like more confidence of getting more bigger clients and more at the same level as well, and being happy to take them on, because, if we're able to keep up that sort of consistency and quality, then who knows who else we can take on. So, yeah, and I think that was exciting for us both to keep going with. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I think Phil nailed it there. It was like it definitely gave us the confidence to then take on clients either of the same magnitude or bigger, because those processes and the knowledge that we gained from that experience in that, I guess it was probably even just the first couple of years with them, like it just gave us confidence to just go after more work.
Well, it's come from a side hustle to this is like a legit business.
Yeah. And the quality of our product, like, and deliverables just like evolved as well, because that's what it demanded.
Yeah, and because it was such a fast-moving industry, the hospitality industry, and because they needed, there was events coming up all the time. It just, I guess, it made, from my point of view, from a design point of view, it was like there was so much, I guess, churn and burn and practice. So I was like constantly practicing, which I guess comes back to that self-taught stuff we were talking about before. So, like, yeah, I mean, anyone that's ever worked under myself since then, I've been like made sure that like that they understand that like the work in the hospitality industry is so great for your practice, and I guess in improving you as a designer as well, because you've got to kind of, I guess, think on your feet a little bit and solve those problems just a little bit quicker, and come up with processes yourself to be more efficient. So, because these days everyone wants everything quickly, but they also want it at a high quality. So
we can talk about that. But
yeah,
I actually had this same conversation or similar conversation with a friend the other day, saying like, obviously I started out mainly in the wedding industry, which I don't do anymore, but that was such a good training ground for what I did because it's so fast paced. And it sounds like similar with you guys with the hospitality industry, that industry really kind of helped you guys gain the confidence, gain those skills in order to know that you can move into different areas and different industries and bring that same kind of skill level and that to it.
Absolutely.
How important is it right now in your business to kind of redevelop those skills so you can tackle different type of jobs?
Yeah, very important. I think every client and every industry is so different, right? So there's so many different needs that we need to, I guess, execute from, I guess, a design point of view, whether it's like we need to set them up for efficiency or whether it's us that need to create the design on an efficient level for them. So it's very dependent, I guess, what the client's needs are. But yeah, I think it's, really, I mean, I don't know what else to add to that apart from that it just, it's, I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's like, it's pretty important, but I think that's what we kind of love about being a creative is, like they say, niche in a certain thing, like do some weddings as a photographer, and a lot of photographers I think just do weddings, and like we could have just niched into hospitality if we wanted to because that's what we were now confident in. But I think the reason why we got into this was because we just love watching businesses grow, and for me personally, I love variety, and it's kind of like an itch to see what else can we do, what else can we do next, like let's do an accountant or let's do a festival or I think we just enjoy the difference in all of these industries. And as I said before, like the common ground of us all being business owners, I think connects us all a bit. Like, so that's kind of very easy to do, to get into that and connect with these business owners. But what they're trying to do and their services are also different. And I think that's what keeps me working every day is just all that. If I was just doing hospitality, maybe I wouldn't be as into it.
I absolutely love that, and I kind of resonate with that as well. Like so many people always say in the video world, you should niche into a certain area. I mean, just do construction, just do this. But I like variety. I like mixing up. I like just learning how to develop my skills in different industries. And sounds like I think we're both all on the same wave path with that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, from a design point of view, if I was, I mean, I don't know. There's a way where you can, I guess, now we're at a point, like initially we weren't at a point where maybe we could dictate how things should be from, I guess, a design point of view. I think early days were very much like you be the designer client and we'll just do whatever you need. Whereas I guess we've had, the client we were talking about before, over the past 12 months, we've had a lot of like, no, well, we're going to dictate how things should be and should look, and we'll be the decision makers on that. And I guess that trust took like years to happen, right? So, but I think we've now got that confidence to say, well, like now look, like, no, this is going to look better for you. And I mean, based on everything you've told us, and I guess for me as a designer, it always comes back to like passion. The passion someone has for their business. Like if they're really passionate, like I find myself, I buy in so much more than if it's like potentially someone just they don't really know why they're starting it or they're just doing it because, or that sort of thing. It's kind of, I know, ironic a little bit because that's how we started, but like, but it's like, I can get so much more, I can sink my teeth in so much more when that passion's there and I can really get
there's a story.
There's a story I'm buying in and everything. And then I guess I find my work and my team's work is better for that. Yeah. Not necessarily, not just like make it look pretty or make it pop or make it, you know what I mean?
I want a dragon.
And it's like, well, but why? I want to learn why.
Yeah. So take me through the process of like a brand new client comes to you. What is your process in Simple Media in order to really dig down into that so then you guys can present the best options possible?
Yeah. I think you should take this one away. This is
sure. I think we've our process has evolved over like so many years, and I think there's heaps that comes into play with this sort of thing because I think as creatives, we're like we have our own styles, and we want to get to a point, or hopefully we're at a point now as well, where people that do find us see the quality of our work and our consistent style and kind of want that reflected in their own startup or their own rebrand or website, because that's what we've shown in sort of consistency. And it's hard to, I don't think it's possible really to just do exactly what a client wants or what they see in their head, because we have our own styles as well. Yeah. And trying to bridge that gap and find that middle ground and is always a difficult process. So it's been 10 years, 15 years of us like getting to a point where we actually find that middle ground with clients. And nowadays, it's really important for us to meet with the client first and foremost, and make sure that we're actually a good fit for them, and that means they need to be serious and passionate about their project, willing to invest, and also bare their soul to us. Like we set up discovery sessions with and roadmap sessions with our clients now, and we basically tell them that this is a business therapy session. Like we're going to ask you some questions. We're probably going to do like less talking. We're just going to ask questions, and we want to hear you talk about everything, your whole journey, why you're doing this, where you want to be. Just tell us everything so that we can figure out how we can get you to that point by using our style and our skills. Yeah. And that's been a game changer for us, rather than just sitting down, go, okay, you want a website, you want 5-page website, you want some photography, you want can you write us this content? Do you want us to write it? We don't really know much about you, but it's going to be a $3,000 website, or it's going to be a $2,000 logo. It's kind of a bit hard to just throw numbers out like that, and try and hit that mark without doing any sort of real discovery, like therapy session of who that client is and finding out what makes them tick and who they want to be.
I think, like we was touching on trust before, like it took us like a decade to earn our stripes, or this trust to sort of like, as Phil puts it, find like that middle ground where we can say this is how it should be, and give them that understanding as to why. Whereas now, by running the sessions we do, we develop that trust in 2 hours by, I guess, being engaged, listening first and foremost to what our clients are saying to us and what they want us, like what they're wanting from us to achieve the results they want. So there's a lot of like trust developed in a small amount of time in those sessions as well, which allows us to then go to the places of, well, we believe it should be done this way because this is what we learnt when we were with you in that session, type of thing. So I guess we can really, explain ourselves and push, a direction or a vision that we believe is the right fit for that business because of that session. Yeah.
I think what really kind of stands out to me from listening to that and seeing you guys doing these kind of branding sessions as well is that the human element of connecting with businesses to achieve results is really important. And like we can talk about like how AI has just come in and just really shaped the world, and to a degree, copyright, websites, logo generations, people can just easily go on online and get that stuff happening. But that human connection and that trust and building,
it's just going to be more and more important as we go. And I don't think there's much fear. There shouldn't be too much fear placed around that, because it's AI at the moment is still just a starting point. And if it does take over in a certain way and overwhelm the industries, there's going to be more. I just feel like there's going to be more push for that personal authenticity and connection.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like I think, there's tools that AI's create. Like we've got with AI now that they're great. They can enhance what we can do to a level, a certain extent, and I guess they can make us more efficient in places as well. But at the end of the day, like I feel people want to work with, agencies or studios or whatever you want to call them in our industry that believe in what they're doing. And they might go out and I mean, yeah, as a startup, you might need to go out and do that. You might not have the money to go out and spend on that, and you might need to get it to a point. But like, there's always going to be a period whether you start seeing success in your business where you're going to go, well, all right, I need to level up now. Like, what do I need? I'm going to need the assistance of an agency or a studio or whatever it is to I guess get me to that point. So
I think there's definitely there's a big place for AI. It's helpful. It does the trivial stuff. It does the stuff that maybe a startup can't afford, and it gets them to a place where they can put themselves out there. And I think, like, especially in websites and branding, like, even if it's just to create a little graphic or generate a stock image just so that it fills this placeholder until they can, because it's so important now for people to be out there, to be recognized and start their brand awareness. Like, sometimes getting that as quick as possible to market is the way it needs to be, like, because of how saturated businesses are, and it is just out in the industry. You know, sometimes you just need to get that foot in the door, be out there. And I think as you grow as a business, you need to then invest in more authenticity and less AI. So you need
I love that.
AI, you need to kind of, it's a good place to get you started. And as copywriters, it's a good framework to start from, and then edit. As designers, it's a good place to get a bit of a mock even, and then start some authenticity and investing into a real style.
I find it's kind of like a nice base. So
it's a tool.
It's good. It's a tool. I find, like, for, I guess, any maybe strategy work I do, if I'm feeling a little bit stuck, maybe that's when I'll rely on it to sort of get the brain going and that sort of thing. But, like, at the end of the day, it's not consistent. Like, so, and I guess a lot of what we do, we thrive on consistency of what we deliver. But yeah, AI is not consistent yet. Like,
I think that, like, what you do in the branding area too, it's so important to have someone like you that actually can really hone in on what the brand is. And when you go to something like Canva or something like that to create a logo, like, it's such a generic kind of thing, and it doesn't create that personality. So from your point of view, when it comes to kind of designing the brand, and I'm not just talking about the logo, I'm talking about everything in the branding, from colors to fonts to style, what is your kind of approach to really kind of make sure that you are grabbing from those discovery sessions and really giving them on, you know, the look and the feel of what that business deserves?
A lot of it comes down to, I guess, the individual or the business owner themselves, and, like, drawing out, I guess, exactly who they want to be or be seen as. Or, I mean, I do this keyword exercise in our sessions that really just drags everything out of them, of either what they see themselves as or what, I guess, in an ideal world, all their clients see their business as. And I guess those words really help me, I guess, shape, I guess, my direction of where I'm going to go create in a creative sense. So, I guess it's important. Like, things like Canva and that are good tools too. Like, once we've established, I guess, the identity of the brand, and I mean, when we're creating, I guess, brand kits and that sort of thing for clients, whether it's in Canva for them to use themselves, like, we're uploading assets that we've created ourselves into there for them to use. So there's still this, like, uniqueness to their brand as well. I guess, my whole mantra in my design, I guess, practice is that I want things to be like the synergy and the I guess, consistency of everything I've created, to be, I guess, seamless from when you see the logo to when it's adapted onto maybe a bit of apparel for their uniforms, flowing into the first flyer they release, into their website, into any, I guess, event collateral that they may create. They wrap their vehicles, and there's just this, I guess, seamless, I guess, synergy between all of them, from, I guess, even the little assets or patterns we might attach to the brand and that sort of thing, that you can sort of see them flow throughout. So, but that all comes from, I guess, that passion I was talking about before. If that client's passionate, I'm like, from a creative point of view, for me, I'm all in.
And you start pinging your energies, man, back and
absolutely. Forth. So it's that helps my process massively.
Yeah.
So
And like, side note, like I love when I get branding kits from clients.
Yeah.
Like when I say to someone, hey, can you bring me your branding kit? They go, oh, what's that? I go, they don't have one.
Yeah.
But when I say you have a branding kit and I get their fonts and like they give me their fonts because sometimes those fonts are paid fonts.
Yeah.
They give me all that stuff. The worst thing for me is when I have to go on Google and find their logo and then make it transparent. Like it's the worst thing.
Yeah.
But I love it when I get nice branding kits.
Yeah.
That's what we tell our clients. We tell them, like you can take these kits and these guides to anyone else in where you want to take your business and get help, and it's going to just make your job easier.
Yeah.
It's going to keep consistency across. And
that's it. Yeah. I guess the goal of it is that no matter who touches it, someone's brand, if they're utilizing the kit or the guidelines or whatever it is, like the level that we've given that particular client, like hopefully, I guess that consistency
and
flows through.
They're paying for that, right?
That's right. Exactly right. You are. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like with you, Phil, with the websites, there's so many different website makers out there, from Wix to Squarespace.
Yeah.
Like, what is it for you that a custom website is beneficial for clients?
Custom website beneficial for clients. Like it's at a certain level in their business where they're ready to invest in their customer journey and like the ideal clients that they're targeting, and that website needs to mold in a way that's actually going to communicate like that to them, the service and the certain experience that they want. That's ultimately going to develop trust to that audience and into their business to say, hey, like this customer's going to be in their good hands. Like, and there's so much that goes into that, and it doesn't really matter what platform you use, if it's Wix or Squarespace or WordPress or Webflow, all these different jargon like platforms you can throw out. Like it really does come back to those branding kits and the content and your service as a business. That's what makes a good website, and that's what makes a custom website too. Everything in the web space now is so customizable in itself that anyone can build one, but you need an expert to kind of help you lay it out exactly how that's presented to the ideal user that you want to be, booking in with you or purchasing your product. And that's why our discovery sessions are so important, is because we are able to figure out exactly who that is and how to get them there. You can talk about the platforms and how they are beneficial and which one's more optimized for what. And like, I don't really want to get into that sort of stuff because there's so much.
We're here for another hour.
But, like there's a million different things. There's SEO, there's all the different marketing channels, the social media and everything that plugs into those websites. And choosing the right platform is important because that can influence what connects that website up. So, it's important to stay up to date with that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, you have to be running a good business with a good service and investing in the content and your brand. So that makes my job much easier to build a website.
100%. And obviously you guys have this full collaborative process inside your business with everyone that works. But obviously you guys had to find that yourselves between what you guys did. And I've witnessed this, we've collaborated on a couple of businesses as well. And it's just so easy to work with you guys and see the work that you guys do, and then you make my stuff look great on sites too. So in saying that, why is it important for from a website and marketing to have good content, not just stock stuff as well? That's such.
Oh, I think that authenticity that
Just
we've
the
been banging on
authenticity,
about. I think
trust.
people love the personal touch. It's funny. It's I feel probably over the last 3 or 4 years, most of the clients we've come across have, I guess, balked at the idea of putting their face to their business and that sort of thing. And I guess we've been really big advocates of go out and see book yourself with a videographer or a photographer, get yourself in front of the camera, get shots of you, your team. Because when people are visiting your website, they don't want to see the Shutterstock photo they saw on the other guy's plumbing site or the other guy's electrician site. They want to see who's coming knocking on their door, and they want to know, there's a trust that needs to be developed from the outset. And I guess trust is big in every business. I mean, that word itself, when I do my keyword sessions, like gets said at every, like trustworthy, like it gets thrown out and people want to be seen like that. But if you're not putting yourself out there to be that, then yeah, it makes it difficult for, I guess, the people you're targeting and that sort of thing for it to be achieved.
I always say people need to know, like, and trust you before they buy from you.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And it's very daunting when people go, I don't like to be on camera.
Yeah,
but like I think nowadays it's really important for people in their business to be seen.
absolutely.
Right? Because not just like, I just do the background stuff. It's like people want to buy from tangible people.
Yeah.
And from like a website point of view, when you can get these images or these videos and put it on there, how much more personality does it inject?
Well, that's part of that custom website. That's that human element. That's business owners connecting with business owners and their customers. It's like, it's so important, and it brings out the real personality and the real uniqueness of who they are as a setup.
Yeah,
their culture. Like it's
absolutely. Like we can make things look nice and that sort of thing, right? But like if there's not the visuals there to back that up, and like even the words that are on the pages and that sort of thing, but if it's paired with an image that just doesn't relate to everything that's been said, it just doesn't.
It's a waste of space.
Yeah,
it's a disconnection.
I mean, from our point of view, we see so much of it, so we can just see it from a mile away. We're just like there's been no thought process into, I guess, putting themselves out there or putting them, I guess tying, I guess the visual content to, I guess, the written content. Like I feel you can't really have one and not the other. You definitely need whatever you're saying. You need to be it needs to be sort of be backed up visually as well, and that's video too. That's getting in front of the camera and saying those words that you've written down on your website as well, and really, I guess, enhancing, I guess, their brand and their business in that way. So.
Oh, look, we could sit here and talk about why video is great on your website, but we'll be here for so long. But yeah, absolutely. And I think that, how do you guys approach like being collaborative with other businesses, not just like me, but other people you've worked with? What is your guys' approach when working with anyone you need to build these, businesses?
Like projects and deliverables? I'm honestly not the most social with business networking, but Pat visits some networks, and I think we've got a lot of work out of that, and we've met a lot of creatives, but definitely the network that we've built of creatives and through our journey has been like pivotal in so much of our service, and meeting photographers and meeting copywriters have filled gaps that just create it's a holistic approach to actually like delivering the project that's going to actually bring results, like having a photographer and a copywriter in, and then as well, just really only recently, SEO and ads, instead of, it's a whole nother ball game in that space, but having a partner to consult with and work collaboratively with, rather than just offhanding it to someone or getting the client to bring in their own, has been, I think, paramount to the results and, I guess, the long-term strategy of the project as a whole, rather than just the website or the brand. It's more the ongoing relationship in growth for the client's business, Yeah.
I guess we've always been big believers in, like, if we can't do it ourselves, like we want it done to a level that we believe it should be done. So I think collaborating's been massive for us on our whole journey, like whether it's been someone like yourself with video and photography, whether it's been copywriters.
And we're just a small team.
And whether it's, I guess, the niche sort of design stuff that I've had to do, whether it's getting someone to illustrate something for us to sort of finish off a project and that sort of thing. It's absolutely paramount in delivering what we set out to achieve, or what we've promised to our client, that this is what we need to do to get to here. So it's collaboration's massive. And I think we've been really lucky. Like we've almost struck gold when we've collaborated because we've found ourselves with like-minded business owners and that sort of thing. So it's been really easy for us to do that collaborative work. So and then I guess communicate and then get that understanding quite quickly by being, I guess, like-minded, which is great.
I just want to say, guys, like on the clients that we've worked with, like your work is so good. Like the websites that that we've worked on in the sense of the content from you guys, it just looks so good. And it actually makes me feel really proud of the work that I've handed over to you guys as well. Yeah. And it's a real testament to everything you guys have already talked about, where you started. Like I had no idea that you didn't really have a creative bone in your body as a child. I knew you were very sporty, unlike me. It's just really the testament to the years of practice that you guys have put into your work. Yeah. And whenever I see when you guys you show me stuff, I'm like, that looks so good.
Yeah, well, back at you, it's like the photography and the videography that really lifts the website too. So it all comes into play and we're like, we're not going to start working on this website until we've got good content, until we've got good stuff to work with. Yeah. So like it's very important. Yeah, I mean, gone are the days where we kind of just boxed up everything and said, here it is, and thanks for coming. Like we're very much more now wanting to be a part of our clients' journey and helping them grow. Like growth is we were kind of laughing about it this week. Like we just see growth everywhere on a lot of marketing agencies and that sort. But it's true. Like we want to be a part of the growth of our clients and that sort of thing as well. But it's it's kind of I guess I don't know when. I don't want to say we're different to other places and that sort of thing, but I think like we've always been so personable with every client that's walked through our doors, and I think we've always been that with people we collaborate with as well. So it's been, I think that shines through in the work we do a little bit 100%. As well. So.
And one thing I just think is like where I think we're on a line too is being really proud of the work that we put out. Yeah. I think that's really important. I think a lot of businesses get stuck in the daily grind and they kind of churn and burn certain things. Yeah. It's being really proud of the work that you're putting out there to go, do you know what? That's great. That's what I like to do. That's what I want to see. I want to see out there. And inevitably it brings more business to you if they go, I've seen the work that you did there. Yeah. And we are sometimes in a bit of a slower burn industry too, where it might take a year for someone to come across to you. But I think it's really evident of the work that you guys have out there in the world. So we're going to kind of wrap up a little bit. So I want to ask, we're going to go into rapid fire questions in a minute, but I want you guys to think about two things that's really important for branding and for website. So this is for the audience. Like if they were to have two things in their branding and website, what would it be and why is it important?
I always come back to consistency with branding. Like I think it's just, it's so important that all your channels sort of sing the same song type of thing. So consistency is one. And then the other one, geez, that's hard. The other one, I think it's being proud. I think it's just being proud of your brand as well. Like I think, feel like I come across so many clients that are constantly like comparing themselves to what that brand looks like, and not just, I guess, being and it might not be that they're not proud of it or whatever it is, but I think just like embracing it and I guess committing to it as well. So I think like when you make the call, like we've come across a few brands that want to. They go at the rebrand stage, like they might have been a startup for multiple years, and they kind of struggle to let go of, I guess, what was created. But it's like, I think it's committing to that if you're going down that path, and really committing to it, and then being consistent off the back of that. So
I think it's really important. Yeah.
Because
like some people get scared of doing a big change.
Absolutely, and I mean, even like a logo, people changing a logo. I mean, I create them, but like I try to, I guess, educate our clients that it's not like logo's not going to win you everything. Like it's what you do off the back of that rebrand or that brand identity that's created. Like, yeah, the logo, don't get me wrong, it's important to an extent, but it's
just one element.
It's one it's
People can hang up on logos.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I've been there, don't worry. Like, so it's I think it's just committing and being proud. I think they're both like huge parts of, because if you're not, like, you won't,
and it can always evolve. It's just
you won't. Yeah, and I guess you won't give you the chance to evolve if you're not fully committed to it. So
2 C's: consistency
and commitment. I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Good for marriage as well, apparently.
That's true.
And over here with websites, 2 things people should do on their website, or like
I mean, like I at the moment, websites. There's so many different styles and ways to build them. It always comes down to the business's service and the way they communicate that. And that's through the branding and through the content. So there's you have to have a big focus on like what you're putting into your website, investing in the photography and the copy and outlining your service in a way that's going to build that trust. Like the trust is huge. Trust and authenticity, but that's in the content. That's what's huge. I would say the other thing with the website is, and this is, again, it's like not really about the website. It's about the plan with the website. It's about what you want this thing to do, and how do you want it to work for you, in the short term, in 6 months' time, in 12 months, in 3 years. Like, if you can come with a plan and a sort of a vision, then you can build something that's going to work for you, actually work for you.
So branding and plan.
It almost,
which is
content and a plan, I think.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
like,
all right.
Yeah,
I love that.
it's important.
All right, rapid fire questions. Are you ready? We'll start over here. Okay. And these ones are they're a bit personal, a bit business. All right. So here we go. I'll ask one question. We'll go 1 to 1.
1 to 1.
All right. All right. Favorite color?
Green.
Blue.
If you could have a superpower for a day, what would it be?
Fly.
I'd say fly as well. Yeah. I have dreams about flying, so I want it to be real.
I'm rewatching Smallville at the moment, so
I think it's the real superpower. If you could fly.
Sometimes I don't want to walk.
I don't want to like
just float.
Make money or like make objects on that. Yeah, I think flying, you would feel like a hero. You got the cape on.
Yeah.
I got young kids. I'm getting too into it. Anyway.
All right. If you can be anywhere in the world right now, where would it be?
Oh. Phil.
Right now, damn, it doesn't work. What is it? It's in an awkward stage. I'd love to be snowboarding in Japan, but there's no snow right there at the moment. But
geez, that's a tough one. I like where I am.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, I like where I am right now. But yeah, if I haven't been to, I haven't been to Italy. I want to. Yeah, Italy would be the place.
Mm.
And if you're doing something completely different from what you're doing now, what would it be?
I'd be professional athlete.
Specific sport? I know you like so many.
Probably football, soccer. Yeah.
I've always said I wanted to be a videographer, actually. Well, I wanted to do filming, but
get you an internship.
Maybe that's in an alternate reality. Yeah.
Best bit of like advice you've had? It could be personal or business.
I always come back to what my dad just saying, just treat others the way you'd like to be treated. I just think I might not do it all the time, but it always just it's I try my best to do that. Yeah.
And I think that is, I'm slightly off, not rapid fire right now, but I think that's really important. Like, I think so many people don't think that, I don't know, there's a lot of rude people out there. And like, if you want to be treated nicely, then treat those other people nicely. And that works both personal and business. 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Don't burn a bridge.
No, definitely not.
Everyone's on their own path, I think. Same with business and in their personal life. And I think being non-judgmental and trying to understand their perspective is kind of huge and plays a role in all aspects of life, I think. And I think I try to do that as much as I can. Yeah. And I think that helps.
One thing that I always remember, best advice I always had was my mum said to me, do 110% of what you can do.
Yeah.
Even if that was scrubbing toilets.
Yeah.
And I really take like my performing arts background as that big catalyst for myself of giving it your all.
Yeah.
I think it's really important.
Absolutely.
But guys, I thank you for coming on. We've been
No
wanting to do
worry.
it for a while, and I'm really happy that we did. I learned a little bit more about you guys, and I want to thank you yet again for all the work that you have done with my work, which is awesome.
Thank you too.
But
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
No sweat,
It's been a
Adam.
pleasure.
It's been great. Enjoyed it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the podcast. I certainly did. As I said earlier, I've known these guys for about 2 years, and they are honestly amazing what they do. There's no better team than Simple Media to make your website and get your branding. So please reach out to them through their website, their social channels, which is all linked in the description of this podcast. But yet again, thank you very much to Pat and Phil from Simple Media, and have a great day.